Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Command and Conquer. I'm your host, John Megacycle. Let's see, we're up to episode 4 here, meaning we've gone through 3 episodes, one each with the introduction commanders. We've gone through the EU, the APA, and the GLA. Having that little bit of experience, I think I'm going to keep playing with the EU. The standard general that we're issued is Bulldog. Good all-rounder, I feel. Got good anti-tank, anti-infantry, good multi-function vehicles, and a good structure base. I kind of like the way he plays out, so we're going to maintain with that kind of a playthrough. For this episode, what we're going to do is we're just playing a regular PvE, which is player versus enemy, from the way I understand it. It's just a quick computer match. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to go over some basics for Command and Conquer. We're going to try to start to form our own strategies, this being only about the 4th or 5th time we've played the game. And we're going to try to get a good rhythm going. That's really the plan with this one. And I think my screen just flipped out for a second there. I apologize. So as we start the game, as we've been noticing, we don't get a command center or an MCV to start off. We get a supply center and a dozer and a harvester. Now each of the factions are a little different, so I'm kind of just speaking in generalities for the EU. What we're going to want to work with is you got really three strategies right off the gate. You can either build a barracks and start rushing immediately, and you can get in a quick strike, or what we're going to do is we're going to move over to resources as quickly as we can. That's going to be our plan. That having been said, harvesters, oil derrick, we're going to be a little more vulnerable out the start, but we're going to be able to really standardize a good economy. That's one of the things that I always stress in my videos whenever possible and in my gameplay tactics. You need a strong economy to build a strong military. End of story. So let's see, we could have rushed with infantry, we could build our economy, or we could have gone right away with a command center and started to tech up. So there's always a couple of options that we could do to really get the game started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of mix of turtle and a little bit of mix of expansion. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our 3 harvesters here pretty soon. Yep, so that's maxed out. We're then going to start moving and garrisoning some of these structures and using them as choke points for defense. We're not going to attack with a heavy military right out the gate. This is still our first few times trying to get a feel for the game and how it all functions, what's the fastest build method, how things interact with each other, that sort of a thing. So right now, this is how I'm going to roll. I'm going to put everything close to this bunker because I plan on occupying it pretty quickly. That's going to give us a good garrison point and a good amount of light level defense. Especially if we come up against tanks, we've got rocket squads, and then recon squads that are also going to be filled in there for the anti-infantry. So I'm not too worried about that. And as that's going, we're going to continue our empire by building oil derricks. The difference between these two, what we started with is a supply stash. A supply stash has a finite amount of credits, or money, or supplies, or gold, whatever terminology that's going to be finalized with the end of the game, and they're harvested with these aircraft and dropped off at a supply depot and processed. Once the money is expended out of that supply depot, the units aren't going to do anything. That's all there is to it. Okay, looks like we just got spied at with a player power. These oil derricks are an infinite amount of credits. They'll produce money at a very consistent rate, as we can see here. Oh, actually it looks like they made them finite. 7,000. Okay, so that's a new twist on it. In other iterations of Command and Conquer, those were infinite. So this is going to be an interesting touch on it. What we are going to do is we're going to attempt to spread out our base just a little bit. Another barracks here. I'm trying to stay low level and trying to spread out where I can. We haven't built a command center. We haven't built anything high-tech. Still kind of trying to keep things a little low, but trying to spread out evenly. That's the important thing. Now, what I usually hear on some of my videos is that would never work against a human player. Moving too slow could be a problem. That's all understood. But we're still trying to just figure out how this game even functions. Now we're getting up our command center now that we've got enough money. I say dollar for dollar, we're outproducing our enemy, and what we're going to do is we're very soon going to mobilize to another supply center. Building a nice strong backbone here so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, now I feel a lot better about that. And what we're going to do is, now that that's constructed, we're going to supplement with a machine gun tower right there. And we're going to do the same on this side as well. This is really the definition of a turtle expansion policy. We're moving slowly, we're moving heavily fortified, and we're moving concentrated. Now, by heavily fortified, I'm not talking a bunch of tanks. We're keeping these occupied, or these civilian structures occupied, which means it's going to take a little more work for the enemy to just come in and rush us and, well, murder us blindly. You know, we're going to make them work for it. Now, of course, if we were up against a human opponent, I would like to start teching up at this point, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to start building other defensives, try to keep everything well-rounded. At this point in the game, however, since we are going up against an AI, I'm going to be just a little more lax. And since we are putting a war factory there, I'm going to want a gun tower there. Another important thing is, if you aren't going to bunch up your assets in one area, we're trying to spread out a little bit here, trying to keep everything a little even. We want to make sure that everything is defended equally, or is defended equally as important. So, now that we've got the cash, we're going to keep moving up and occupying this city. If they decide to come in, we're going to make them fight for it. And I think that's what's important.
No problem.
So far, so good.
Let's rock.
Now, we're not veterans at all at this game. At all. This is like the 4th time I've played, and this is maybe the first time I'm actually trying to play seriously. But I think we're doing a very good job keeping everything well defended, well maintained. That's the important of it.
Got something? Okay.
Don't forget to always use your hotkeys. Those are very important. Making sure that you've got your units queued up and you know exactly where they are and what they're doing, that's what's important.
I need a map. On it.
Time to do some scouting. And speaking of scouting, we already see what they're kind of up to.
That sounds done.
Okay, so they did capture oil derricks, so we're going to have to start to be mindful of their economic expansion as well. Now what we're going to do here,
Right already. Where do you want us?
all we're going to do here is act as a bunker. That's going to allow us to make sure that we keep tabs on the enemy. Even though we don't have a very strong base presence at all here, we'll at least be able to know if they want to come and take this territory, they'll have to come through us as well, and that's what's important. Let's see here. Infantry to fire from inside of APCs. Structure bonuses, absolutely.
Rocket squad.
Yeah, just plow right through that. We're going to get a gun tower there. That's going to make me feel a lot better about things. And we're going to wait till we have a... Oh, actually, you know what? Let's do an oil derrick right away.
Go vertical.
Keep forgetting how expensive supply centers are, but that's okay. And when you have downtime, always be sure to take a quick look around at what's going on in the battlefield. Make sure you're happy with where your defenses are set up. Make sure that the enemy's trying to flank you. You're trying to get a good idea of what's going on. You can also do a lot of benefit just by staring at that mini-map. I don't mean staring at it like drooling at it or anything, but you can certainly learn a lot about your enemy's movements just by paying attention to your surroundings. Our real objective here was to simply spread out a bit and try to get some good battlefield awareness, and I think we're accomplishing that.
Our units must go fight.
My drones online.
Well, why in the heck are you telling me that, lady? As with my normal policy, at least with the turtle methodology, I like to make sure that I build small mini bases around here. So that's why I've got a barracks here and a barracks here. That even if they were to take a portion of my base, I've got something else that I could build more troops with. It's not once they take me, I'm completely done. And speaking of which, oh man, those Aegis tanks are just pricey, but they are powerful. Let's get a machine guy in there, and then we're going to fill it full of...
Moving.
Fill our APCs full of our rocket infantry.
Ready, sir. You got it.
Now, this path here... Oh,
Fire at the base.
no problem. Good mix of defenses, that's what wanted. How badly damaged is this? Not really at all. So a good mix of defenses here, our 2 rockets and our 1 machine gun took that out no problem. So let's see, as I was saying, is this path here is completely undefended, but since I've got a good bit of defense here, another structure full of guys, I don't feel there's a need to secure this off much further. Now, again, different strategies, different requirements. If we were up against some humans, that would certainly be problematic, and we would want anti-air, or we would want to start attacking with an air force. We'd want to start responding with kind. Now, speaking of which, we control this half of the map. We need to make sure that our enemy is not any farther than we are, and they aren't. So at this juncture, I would be safe to say that we are farther than our opponent, which is good. That's where you want to be. You don't have to dominate them immediately. We're still trying to figure this game out, to be honest. So certainly where we are at, I'm pretty happy with. You guys want to get in? Get in. Thank you.
My radio's getting too much love. No problem.
Okay. APCs have reported the area clear. Dozers are going to move up, start setting up base. APCs are going to start doing some harassment.
Buildings on the way. Here. Building. All right.
Did you guys forget what I told you to do? Maybe I didn't tell you well enough.
Watch as our rockets usher in a new era.
Going in here.
Nope. Nope. Come over here. Okay. Okay, we got rocket trouble, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to dump off our guys here.
There is everybody.
Get them in the building. Perfect. That's exactly what we needed. The rocket tanks are going to deal with the building. We'll be able to take out, what, 1 or 2 of them? Oh, looks like you lose all the infantry when a building goes down. As opposed to the infantry being ejected, you simply lose all of them. Okay, what we want to do now is we want to make them come out single file 1 at a time. Okay, APCs are going to be good against infantry. Let's go ahead and punk them out. Heal. It was a little late on my player powers. Time to cut our losses. Okay, not a huge deal. We were expanding, and we lost. That's way better than them beating us back from into our base. That having been said, we now need to adjust our policy. How do we do that? Well, we saw that they were bringing in light vehicles, so we need to counter with heavy vehicles, or these Aegis tanks are going to be amazing against them. In the same regard, it's time for us to start building up a bit. Once that's complete, we're going to start teching up with an airfield, and we're going to start researching the long-range bombers. They're not really called bombers, I don't think, but we'll see what they're called in a second here. And yes, I would like a second dozer. It's important to always remind yourself that it doesn't matter how many credits are in the bank, the money isn't what's going to win the battle. So we need to start cranking out some better tech, we need to start cranking out some better units, we need to really start mobilizing as a threat, because if we wait here far too long, the enemy's just going to get too much stuff and just storm us. Now I see you've got a green dot here, but I don't know what that is, so that's kind of curious. Either way, let's take another gander at what's going on here.
Keep it up.
Okay. And let's see, airport's complete. I'm interested in Valkyries. Expensive little guys, but they are going to be amazing. We're just going to flank the enemy flat out. Okay. I'd also like 3 APCs, because we do want to make our offense all-rounders. We don't want to attack with just these tanks, because if they have a lot of rocket infantry themselves, we're going to be in a big old world of hurt. Okay, that having been said, increase vehicle damage. Upgrades Valkyrie, yeah, let's do that, because that's going to be a good portion of our attack offensive. And that's really what's important. If we were just building one and doing it like that, then we wouldn't want to waste the energy on the upgrades. But since I'm going to want 2, or how many did we queue up? 3 total? Perfect. Okay, why don't you come on back? Okay.
What do you got?
So it looks like the AI has improved. They initially attacked and then counterattacked, which is a good move. It's good to see them with a little bit of finesse. Now that they know which direction we were coming, we need to go a different direction. So what I'm doing is I'm going to move the land forces to the northwest, and then we're going to move these aircraft to the northeast. And what we're going to do is we're going to flank them. So now that we're moving in this direction, okay, there's nothing here. I still want to move all the way here, and then we'll move east. So our Valkyries are going to do some work for us right off the bat. They're going to come in here, and we should be able to just flank this thing right out. Now, I'm very sure that their rocket tanks are going to be absolutely flawless against our aircraft, and that's not good. How do I have 4 of you guys? Ah, whoops. Alright. Well, that's a little confusing.
I let my rockets do the talking.
I never liked their structures.
Okay, no problem. Can't move out any farther? Okay. And we just got scanned. So what we are going to do is continue building one of our mini bases.
Let's go vertical. Order rocket.
Alright, I see him. And we can outrange them. Perfect. That's going to be a nice distraction, and while that's happening... Perfect. That's an unexpected little surprise there. And while they're distracted, which I would assume is a main portion of their battalion, time to get moving in. But I need everybody together. Man, talk about destructible terrain, huh? Yep, pick them apart. Let's take a look at what we're going to run into.
Even my powers don't match that.
A lot of infantry, but that's what our APCs are designed for.
Who knew we could buff like this? Terrific. Get up.
No problem. I don't see any other immediate threats. Let's go ahead and do some structure destruction. And in the same regard,
What you got? Alrighty. Don't mind if I do. Heavy here. See something?
let's keep moving to the northeast.
Don't mind if I do. Fuel air bomb is
Rank 4
online.
means fuel air bomb.
Terrific.
I just really love watching this thing.
They know that's our money.
Damn.
Take 'em out.
Now, speaking of what I said about watching the minimap,
Make it go. APC.
they're already spreading. We've already uprooted them from their main base, but they're still expanding. So we're going to take our land units go one direction, take our air force go another direction. This should be it.
They look so pathetic. Wonderful.
Easy pickings.
I'd say we've earned a cocktail.
Now, granted, this is still alpha. There wasn't any huge attacks from the enemy. There wasn't a whole lot. We're still trying to get a good feel with what's going on here. So I think I've got a nice build strategy that I'm pretty happy with. We start with the first supply depot, we build off a couple of harvesters, and then we expand to the next closest economic facility. If it's another supply depot, we go that route, and or if it's an oil derrick, we go that route. Since those kinds of facilities don't require electricity, it was actually pretty easy to expand quickly. Yay, first win of the day. Good income. Good kill-loss ratio. I'm pretty happy with all that. We did lose... Oh, I thought we lost 2 structures. I thought we lost a turret and a supply depot. But that's okay. I'm sure there's a bunch of kinks still getting worked out, of course. This is alpha. But I'm really happy with how this is turning out. We're starting to form our own build strategy, our own ideas. You can always watch a YouTube video and see how the pros do it, but I like to try to at least figure it out the first few goes on my own. And then you can always get some tips and tricks from, you know, someone that's been in the game for a while. Either way, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope to catch you next time. See ya.